Y'all, nothing beats a healthier ride than a 45-minute spin class at CycleBar West U. Y'all know I've been on a journey of health and wellness. My doctor recommended that I do cardio to improve my blood pressure. It's been high and I have hypertension, and nothing has worked better than the CycleBar West U class. I'm telling you, CycleBar has the smart bikes. They will calculate your distance and your calories. The music's great. The vibe is great. The lighting is amazing, and the trainers really want to make you have that amazing experience. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but if you wanted to, you can ask for your favorite workout songs. They want this to be about you. They want you to have the best experience possible. And by the way, I am letting you know now that they have a new Rider 3-pack for only $49. Amazing. You find them at 3233 Southwest Freeway. Or you can also reach out to them at 713-677-0477. And their email is westu@cyclebar.com. Ask for Guillermo. He's going to take care of you. If you don't do anything else for the rest of the day and you do the CycleBar West U class, I'm telling you, you're going to walk out and you're going to feel like a badass. Happy day, my vibers. Today is such a great day because today I'm going to bring you something that I'm really excited about. Someone we found at the beginning of the year and that I wanted to share with you. Our guest today is Guillermo Leal. Guillermo is the owner of CycleBar West U, our favorite ride. Right, Rusk?
Absolutely.
And workout for he and I. We just love going there. Guillermo's also one of our sponsors, so I'd love to get you all to know him and also to get excited for what he's bringing to the table. And we're excited to have you, Guillermo. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Alicia and Rusk. Super excited to be here. And looking forward to sharing with you guys my experience. And so happy that you guys love the studio.
We do.
We love the studio.
We do. You know what? At the end of last year, and I think this is a topic that I've brought up on the podcast, is that I was going through like a wellness journey, so I was going through like a lot of changes. I was looking for cardio. My doctor was like, find cardio that you really like. The other cardio I was doing was really hurting my knees. So I needed to do something that was fun, that was exciting, music. And your workout was like so perfect because I remember thinking to Rusk, like, these people are like coming on Southwest Freeway. This is before you even opened. This was maybe 6 months before. Yep. And we saw something on Instagram that popped up and said something like, coming to you, West U, Southwest Freeway. We're like, oh, that's not too far from us. Yes. It's actually right off of West Park. Yep. We live on West Park in Derry Ashford. So it's like a straight shot, Guillermo. So for me, it was like a way for me to also get a good workout and like also work on my wellness journey, because I've started that wellness journey probably January 1st, I think.
No, we started January 28th, the end of January.
Yeah, for me, my wellness journey though.
Oh,
was
the wellness journey, right.
Yeah.
But you also had issues with your knees, so you found this to
I did. I found I had issues with my knees. Right. I couldn't work out, usual, sprinting and running and that kind of thing. It was too hard for me. So this is like the perfect thing.
Yeah, the spin cycle class is great for if you have issues with knees or hips or ankles or any of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
It takes all the load off this. If you don't like running on treads, this is a good option for that.
It's a good option, super good option. So Guillermo, tell us, you started in oil and gas.
I did.
Okay, so give me a little bit of your background. You're an engineer, or what do you do?
I'm an engineer by background.
By trade.
Yes.
Okay. So you came from Venezuela.
Right. So yeah, it's a little bit different, I guess. I was actually born in the U.S.
Okay.
I was born in a small town called Ruston, Louisiana.
Okay.
And both my parents are from Venezuela. All my family's from Venezuela. They got scholarships from university to go to university in the States, and that was the place. They're both engineers, and they both graduated and got married in Ruston, Louisiana. And then I was born in Ruston, Louisiana.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So their scholarship was basically back then in Venezuela. There was this program with the government that they offered all good students a possibility to go overseas. Some went to Europe, some went to US, Mexico, Canada. And as part of that, both my parents went to the US. And the agreement was you finish your university degree and then you come back home. I don't know if you guys remember, and I'm talking this late 70s, 80s.
Okay.
And that time, Venezuela was trying to get technical with all the oil and gas because it was all by foreign companies. So my dad finished, my mom finished, and they went back to Venezuela. So I grew up in Venezuela after I was there until 3 years old. I lived in Venezuela until I was 18 years old. And then I came back to university again, and I went back to Louisiana. Well, this time I went to Louisiana State University because I guess
LSU?
LSU.
Is that the one in Baton Rouge?
Correct.
Yeah. I've been there. I've seen the campus. It's a beautiful campus.
It is.
Just tell,
beautiful
just tell us,
campus.
where is that town in Louisiana?
Baton Rouge?
No.
Oh, Ruston?
Ruston, yes.
It's north of I-10. I don't know if that helps at all. But it's, you know where Shreveport is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's close to Shreveport.
Very close to
Okay.
Shreveport.
Right.
Yeah.
So people have an idea of where exactly
It's not
Louisiana you're
bad.
talking about.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, because there's a university there, and I know that because both my parents went there, is Louisiana Tech. So that university is there too.
So you're an LSU Tiger.
I am. Yeah.
So how did you go from Louisiana oil and gas, because you worked in oil and gas,
Yeah. So
to becoming an entrepreneur? That's what we really want to know. Like, who takes that plunge?
yeah, it's a plunge. So yeah, I worked. Where do I start? When I went to university in the US, I was very indecisive because I was actually the prior year I was going to be a doctor. So all my childhood I was going to be a medicine doctor, right? In Venezuela, what happens is to become a doctor, you have to go to public school. You don't have private education for medicine. You have to compete. And there's
Where in Venezuela are you from, by the way?
Barquisimeto.
Barquisimeto. Where's that in comparison, I guess, to Caracas?
Yeah.
'Cause that's the city we know.
Driving 4 hours to the southwest.
Southwest of Caracas?
So it's closer to Macabeo.
Yeah, I think so. Well, no. It's actually south. It's closer to the Andes part.
Oh, the Andes part.
So geographically, if you get to see it, it's almost like right in between the coast and the Andes. And the mountains. So for one side, you will look flatlands.
Wow, okay, all the way
And the
down
other
there.
one, you see the mountains.
Mountains.
Yeah, it was
That seems like a pretty cool geographic area to be from.
oh man, it was fantastic. I mean, now that I look back at my childhood, it was the best because before that, I lived in Caracas, in the capital. All my family is from Caracas, the capital, and it was dangerous back then. So we decided to go to the countryside, which are huge cities anyway. And it was complete freedom. You know, I would take my bike, and that's where everything started. I would take my bike and just go around the city, and no limitations. And then when I became high school, a teenager, we would go out 3:00 in the morning, and it was no problem. You know?
Wow. That's foreshadowed what you're doing now with the business.
I know.
You're riding bikes then, and now.
Oh, it's always been my passion. You know, bicycles, indoor cycling. Just for me, at least, it brought me back to my childhood, fantastic memories, and it also gave me a sense of freedom. You know, it just makes you feel free.
I love that you're saying that.
Yes.
I love that you're saying that because it really is. I feel for me too. When I'm on a bike, I feel free.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why. There's no rationale behind that. It's just, that's how you feel.
Yeah. I believe there's a subconscious connection, and this is just my theory, with your childhood, with the day that you learn.
Yes.
This is typically most people, not everybody, but most people associate the moment they learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
With that one super happiest moment is the challenge. Is a big challenge when you're there trying to get in, when you're taking the training wheels away.
Right. Yes.
And then some people, they just put you downhill and go for it. Right.
It's one of those.
Yes.
It's one of those milestones in life, right? When you first learn how to drive a car and to get your driver's license, riding to learn the bike is something that just happens a little bit, sooner than that.
It's
or it's like learning swimming too.
Yeah.
It's
all
so
those,
true.
Yeah,
It's
and
all
I
those
think that's what
subconscious,
happens.
right, yeah.
You go back to it.
Right.
It links you back to that moment of happiness and overcoming. because we're all happy when we overcome a challenge.
Yes.
So I think maybe
but
that's
all
my
three of
theory.
them all three of them give you a sense of freedom.
Yes.
Like swimming and riding a bike, it kind of gives you mobility
Yes.
to get away from, your little tiny world for that day, for that moment in time.
Right. I do remember even the day I learned how to ride a bike. And I remember asking my dad, because my dad bought it at like a garage sale, my bike. And I said, can you please paint it gold?
Oh, nice.
And it's crazy how now still at 47, I'll be 47 in the summer. I still want everything in gold and yellow. Like I still think about that. But I begged him. I said, Daddy, can you go get some spray paint and do it a golden yellow, like a gold color?
Yeah, gold's always been your color. She even painted these stools in gold.
I know, I love it. I don't know, one of these stools. Yeah, I'm that girl. Okay, so you came, and how did you work here in this United States? So you came and worked here in the U.S.
Yeah. So I graduated in petroleum engineering, and when so I finally decided, because I went from medicine to what do I do now, right?
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. And now I'm in a foreign country, because I was born here, it's still a foreign country to me. I have to learn the language. My English wasn't that great, so I was still adapting. And I said, well, honestly, the logic was I can't go wrong with numbers. Numbers are international. Law probably not going to be it. I had a horrible accent, whatever. In English, I wasn't comfortable. I said, numbers it is. My father is a chemical engineer.
Okay.
How bad can it be? So I took a couple classes in chemical engineering, hated it. I wanted to fall asleep. Then I took a class in geology, and I loved it. I loved geology. I said, wow, And then I took another class just out of curiosity in petroleum engineering. And it was all about exploring and again, uncertainty. And how do you find out? And engineering is a big guesstimate. And that's another thing, right? We believe we know to the last number, but it's not. We put so many safety margins and safety factors to overcompensate for our human nature of not knowing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Then we just make ourselves comfortable. But long story short, I ended up being graduating from petroleum engineering. And then I started working in the Gulf of Mexico, offshore. I always was of train of thought that if I wanted to learn something, I needed to actually taste the oil.
Yes, right.
Feel it, smell it, be there. So I took a job actually working offshore, and part of the training was to be, all the positions in a rig. So I mopped, I don't know how many platforms and rigs, and all the way to drilling and all that good stuff. So that was great training. I did that for 2 years. And then from there, I realized, it was more mechanical. It was all about the rigs, and I said, well, I want something a little more business-wise. So I went to Scotland, get a master's degree, and it was in oil and gas management. That helped me to get kind of like an MBA, but for oil and gas. So I said, this is good. It helps me to get away a little bit from so technical. So that was, and also it was an excuse to country, to learn about
to
culture.
go see Scotland.
Yes, right? And I loved it. I loved
Beautiful
Scotland.
country out there. What was the impetus get you from oil and gas into the private?
Yeah. So I ended up working in oil and gas for 18, 17 years. I always wanted to become an entrepreneur, right? I just didn't have that jump yet, because you get so comfortable. You do get comfortable. And the reality is you're afraid.
Right.
You look at your bank account, and 15th and the end of the month, there's a check coming in there, big or small.
Yeah, there's a security to that.
That's it.
There's a stability to that. Yeah.
If you manage your expenses or investments, then there's no reason for me to go check what's going on in there. I know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I was afraid of how does that going to happen? I'm going to have to be chasing each dollar. So life kind of did it for me, to be honest. So my last assignment was in Iraq, and I was working rotation, and I was living in Spain, back and forth. And during the Trump era, one of the, and I don't know if you guys remember, one of the Iranian generals got killed in Iraq. When that happened, that triggered a red alert for all U.S. citizens working in Iraq.
Had to be evacuated.
Right. So I was evacuated with...
You thought the Iranians were going to retaliate.
So correct. So as part of that, I was one of those. And they say, well, your next assignment is just going to be back in the U.S. I promised myself, I said, if you ever go back to the U.S., you're going to start on your own. It's enough. And I did. So
Why, you were tired of what? We're tired of the uncertainty?
I was tired of not doing what I wanted to do, which was jump into trying something of my own.
Okay.
So part of the logic was in the corporate world, I felt that I had to convince a lot of people to do their job, just do their job, you know? And I remember having a couple conversations with people and telling them, hey, if I was to put a 1%, just 1% of the effort that I put here for you guys, I would already be a millionaire. And as I said it just kept resonating with myself. Like, what are you waiting for then? You know, how do you say, put your money where your mouth is?
Yes. Right.
Do it. Just take your money, take your chips that you save like a little squirrel.
I use that saying all
go
the
use
time.
them.
Yeah.
So I said, well, here we go. So I came back to the States.
Right.
And I contemplated of starting a business in Spain. I'm a U.S. citizen. It made more sense. I knew, even though I speak Spanish and I
but
know
you were more familiar with the American market.
Correct.
The system down here, the regulations, the permitting process, all the nitty gritty.
I felt it was gonna be more efficient, more successful.
And what year was this, Guillermo?
This was 2020.
2020.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I left and they were closing borders with Spain.
Yes.
So it was that, and that was another thing. So it was double uncertainty.
But I think a lot of people got the impetus to do things different during the pandemic.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes.
I think they just kind of reevaluated their lives, realized how short life can be. Yeah. Because all you heard about was death all the time and sickness, and I got to do something else. I think that was, they called it the Great Resignation, but I thought it was more like the great impetus to do something different with your life.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of people that changed careers in 2020, 2021.
So why CycleBar?
So I started actually 2 ventures. So one of them was on my own, still lifting off the ground, which is developing technologies and helping technical people connect with investors and develop patents. So I've been working that with my dad, who's also an engineer, retired. I've been working that, but I also wanted a model, a franchise that I said, okay, how do I go and separate something that is not related to energy?
Yes. Well, something fun,
right?
A different kind of energy.
Yes.
Exactly.
Something positive, and it's also we've been there, like Elisa mentioned. It's sexy.
Yeah, it is, and I thought it was a way to also help the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I found on it was when I was working on oil and gas, indoor cycling and cycling has been a refuge for me, not only to help me stay in shape and feel strong, but also a disconnect from all the nonsense and all the noise that we surround ourselves. You come out of there and you'll see most people will be like dying, but they're happy. They're glowing.
It's a happy joy.
Right. Yes. And I wanted to provide that.
Right. Yeah.
And I also felt that there's many things that happened for me to get into cycling. One of them is I always connected cycling with happiness. So I said, I want to be able to provide this. And also I always feel that customer service is horrible. It's just in a general basis. It's horrible. People, you go get I'm a big coffee drinker, and you go to a coffee place, and I'll ask you, how many times do people even acknowledge when you come into a coffee place?
Right.
They don't even care.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's not that you're, I don't expect that much attention, but I do want to be acknowledged in this transaction.
No, and I think any customer, I think that's the definite key word is acknowledged and be recognized for being there and grateful for being there.
Because you don't exist without them. That's something I think people forget. It's like your customer is everything. Yes. So how do you keep them engaged? How do you keep them happy? How do you want them to come back? Well, then you just reflect on yourself, and that's what I've been doing. Right, I've been trying really hard and enforcing that. I want to. It's very simple, right? Like, what is that saying? Treat everybody like you want to be treated. And that's true.
Yeah, the golden rule,
right?
The golden rule.
One, and don't be a salesman, right? And I'll say that, tongue in cheek, right? Yes. But what I mean is people don't want to feel like a dollar bill either. Right. So I want to sell.
You don't want to feel like you're being sold to all the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
People like the product.
So true.
The sales will come on their own.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you don't really have to try very hard if the product and the service is there.
And honestly, the personal relationship with someone creates that sense of like, oh, I like them. You know what? Let me recommend them to somebody else. Yeah. So it sort of becomes like leads, create more leads.
Right.
Yes.
Based on the feeling and the welcoming, the nature, the environment, the climate inside it, the whole thing. Yeah. You know, and so for you, can you tell me a little bit? I know Rusk and I have talked about doing like a franchise. We've been thinking about it. We have businesses and multiple things. We've thought about maybe franchising in a particular field. But tell me a little bit about that franchise process and a little bit of like the build out and like what did you learn throughout the
trials
process?
and tribulations.
Yeah.
Right.
What did you learn?
What did I learn? I learned that is the best analogy I have is it's a marriage. It's a marriage relationship. There's things that they're going to do that you don't like, that you don't agree with. And there's things that you're going to do and they're not going to like.
Give us some details. What are the
things? For example.
So for instance, with my particular franchise, I don't have anything that I don't particularly like that I can't think. I'm sure there are, but let me walk that process, that thought process as I go. So
maybe at the beginning.
Yeah. So at the beginning,
things may smooth it out.
It's just kind of like dating, right? Because what happens is they're picking you as well. Because taking all the emotional and excitement away, right? It's a business partnership.
Right.
This guy gonna get into enough debt and be able to pay. Is he responsible? What is his track record? And that's really what they're looking at.
It's like an in-depth credit history.
Yeah. So they're checking your
financials and all.
Yep, financials and everything. And they're also checking you as a person because they're going to deal with you every day. So can I deal with this guy every day? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And then you coming from the, different type of world, for my case, specifically from an employment. So I almost saw it like, okay, well, I also need to impress them, right? So they can pick me and we have the same profile.
Right.
So,
for sure.
So what happens then once if successful, then you also realize I studied their team a lot and I love still to today, I love their team. And I love their team because they felt very genuine, right? Okay. And I already had tried their product. So I liked their product already. So I know that the experience they were providing and had the guidance of the business I already liked. So I was sold on that before I even went. So my research there was more about people. So who is the president of this franchise, right? Who's the team actually hands-on? Because you can have the leader who's the head. And sometimes those positions are very decorative.
So is CycleBar in Houston? Where are they headquartered? Where are they based?
They're in California,
so they're
Orange County.
So they're nationwide?
Yes.
How many locations do they have?
They're about 300 and something. I can't remember.
How many are about in Houston?
So within the loop, I guess, there's 3. Houston Heights,
right?
Sawyer Heights, and West U.
Which one are you?
And Katy, right?
West U, yeah. And then there's Katy.
It's coming up.
Pearland. There's one in Katy, Pearland. We're great friends with the studio in Pearland.
Yeah. You said you're good friends with the one.
Yeah, with the owner. Yeah, because they're franchised, but they're all privately owned. So there's one in Sugarland as well. But yeah, they continue to grow. It's a successful brand. And that's another thing I liked about it is inclusivity. And it sounds, when you hear it, it sounds a little bit cliche, right? It's like,
it sounds like that,
right? But then if you look, once you start, because here's another transformation of part of the whole process is, one thing is to be a writer. Another one is to now get into this world of fitness, right?
It's a whole other ballgame.
And it's aggressive. And I come from an oil and gas world that is aggressive. And you get into it and you're like, oh, wow, And so you start learning. Then all of a sudden, the world inclusive, not that cliche anymore, because when you start seeing different studios in their mode, their strategy is completely different, right? So you'll see studios that are like, well, we just look good, and the sell is, if you come here, you're just gonna look good.
You're gonna look like us, perfect people.
Exactly.
But I agree with the inclusivity component because that's one thing that I really, really enjoy about CycleBar West U. It's the women that attend, the men that attend. It's all walks of life. They don't all look like the perfect 5'5", 120-pound girl. It is like all of us that are like in different stages of our lives. There's some that are moms. I can tell there's some grandmas.
Right.
There's some young Gen Zers, some millennials. You can tell there's that you really, for you, particularly in West U, you really live by that.
Yes.
For
Right.
sure.
Thank you so much. That's very flattering because
And
that's
that's something
I
that
strive
we
for.
really love to see and something that
Yeah,
we
we
do
do
together.
because it's a lot of these workout studios are intimidating. You look at them on the social media, you see people spinning on the bike really fast, a lot of music. Oh, I can't handle that. I can't do that because I get in a bike in the neighborhood. I'm going at my own pace. But there are people in there that just go at their own pace.
Yes.
They're like me. They kind of sit in the back of or on the side. And there's something for everybody. You're not being isolated. You're not being picked out. You're not being called upon to do better. It's your money. It's your experience. Make the most out of it. And I think that's the best concept because a lot of folks, they think this is only for professional athletes.
Correct.
It's for Division I athletes. And it's not like this.
And
The
it's
complete opposite. For like Alicia and I, it's really just to make ourselves feel better during the day. We're not looking for a six-pack. We're not looking to win some, Mr. or Mrs. Universe competition. We just sometimes we don't have something to do and we just want to feel like we did something for the day.
Right.
This class is perfect for that. It
No, and for
satisfies
me,
that.
it's really been helpful with my wellness journey, the way that I feel and the things that I do in terms of like, where I'm heading in my life. But the other thing that I really, really like about it, and it's something I wanted to ask you about, do you, at CycleBar West U, is there a particular thing that you're looking for in your trainers? I mean, I love them all, but I'm wondering if there's something that you're in, like, this is how I want my trainers to be, or do you just get any trainer that comes along and says they want to teach?
No, not at all. So,
Okay.
So that's, and actually that goes back to the question with the franchise. So here's where the franchise expertise comes in. So I always talk about ants with antennas, right?
Yeah.
So I always tell my team, my job here is to feel the vibe. So if I feel that you and I vibe and it's a positive energy and that positive energy can be distributed among the team and that you're going to match our energy, then I know already without knowing your form or that you're technically good on a bike, that business-wise, that part is successful.
Okay.
Which is a big chunk, right? Because if you're genuine, I always tell them being nice sells. Just be nice. It's that simple.
It's that simple.
It is a basic principle in business just to smile.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference, and it's contagious too.
Right.
It's a mirroring effect in the human
It is contagious,
physiology,
absolutely.
right? They want to smile back.
Yeah.
So that's my job. My job is to sense that work ethics. Right? Are you reliable? That's super important.
Of course.
Can you be here on time at the time? Be prepared. Be professional. Take it seriously. I also try to gauge a lot of passion. I always tell the team.
How do you gauge their passion?
Yes.
How do you gauge
That's a
that?
good
Can
question.
you tell someone's going to be a passionate?
So it's a gamble. It's a big gamble. That's how I feel. It's a big gamble, and my gamble starts with the initial conversation. So I'm still training myself to listen to my gut because I'm an engineer, so I can be very cold-headed. So I listen to my gut. And I always, and I know it sounds a little esoteric or hippie, but I always feel that we are entities of energy.
Yeah, I
You
agree
have-
with
I
that.
agree.
We
Yeah.
both do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have this diameter, and those energies collide, and they can be harmonious or not. You can feel
Absolutely.
that within seconds.
Of course.
We're just not in tune with it, but it is there.
Yes.
And I always give the silly example of the car. How do you know when you're making a curve, you're going to hit certain object within millimeters?
Yes.
It's not because you're that
Right.
smart. No, you are also connected to that object somewhere or the other.
Yeah.
Because that object was created by other humans that have energy. So it's also an interchange of energy. So that's my hippie spiel there. So that's what I try to gauge in that first conversation. I try to gauge that if our energies are harmonious, then there's two possibilities. Once this is going to be, only two, bad, right? But then there's the time of trial. And that is not too much to do with energy. Now comes the cold-headed thing. How responsible are you? Are you going to be here 30 minutes early, or are you going to be rushing and because that shows to me how mature you are And also, what is your level of commitment?
Your level of
Yes,
commitment. You were
right.
just going to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Commitment to and commitment. That's another thing I've learned with time. Even working in big corporate America, was you're not ever committed to a company. You're just committed to people.
Yes.
So that guy
Right.
is going to hurt
Yes.
if I'm late. You don't
Right.
think, oh, VP Chevron is no. My team leader
Right.
is going to suffer.
You
My
know what,
studio
Guillermo?
owner.
I
That's perfect.
wish more people understood it in that
Yes,
sense,
right.
because we come across business owners all the time
Yes.
that still don't get it,
Yeah.
that still don't get that person to person energy level and how important it is to have that connection and to have that gut feeling and to feel like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Let's push ahead. There's so many out there. And we have this conversation. Rusk and I
Yes.
have this conversation all the time. How it is so it's either heavy on the logic or heavy on the emotion. But they never learned how to balance both and
Both.
how to put them both into practice and
Right.
put a good measure of logic, a good measure of emotion. It's either one or the other.
Yeah.
And that is really sad. How did you come to that conclusion yourself? How did you come to learning that your own?
Tough question.
Yeah, that's a tough question. It's a good
I guess
question.
years of experience.
I think
guess?
making
don't know.
mistakes,
Yeah.
a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
getting it wrong a lot.
the
I've
best way
gotten
to
it so
learn.
wrong. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even in my personal life, right? Not even, that's where you start. Right?
Yes.
Personal life,
Yeah.
personal decisions. This is like getting into the personal level. I'm divorced. I was married for 10 years of my life. Of course, we all mature and everything, but I was about 28. And if you would have told me 10 years later
Mhm.
what I know from 28 is completely different.
Different. Yeah.
And I knew at 28 that I owned the world and I knew
Mhm.
everything that there was to know. And now you look back and you're like, man,
Right,
how silly are you?
Yes.
yeah,
Right? So,
yeah.
so making those mistakes of and not being afraid of it, or maybe just engaging that you're afraid, right? I don't know. I've gotten there by making mistakes. I think that's the
Yeah.
answer.
Friends, I must tell you, I know the place to go if you need house audio, TV installation, security monitoring. I am telling you, these people are so, so good that I cannot wait to share them with you. AVS Concepts is the place to get all of these things taken care of. They're the experts in audio video. If you are entertaining and you need music, call them. If you just purchased a new house and you want to have security, you've got to call them. They are the best at all of this for you. I am so excited to share them with you. They are new sponsors for the podcast. You will not regret having them in your house. They can put anything up and create the most amazing surround sound. I am telling you, when I watch my movies, I like to watch them with surround sound. And thanks to AVS Concepts, I can do that. Follow them at their Instagram account, AVSC_HTX, or you can also find them at their website, avcschouston.com, and tell them that Alicia from Buy and Smile Alicia sent you, and they will take care of you. I promise you. You guys, I want to introduce to you my skincare expert, Natalia Castille. Everyone wants to know, how in the world do I have the most gorgeous, beautiful skin? Yeah, thank you very much. I know. And it is because of her. Natalia Castille is my go-to skincare specialist. She takes care of me. And I'm telling you, you guys will love her. You will find her at the ACPS. It is the Aesthetic Center for Plastic Surgery. And if you really, really want to know more about them, you can visit them at their website, ACPS Plastic Surgery. It is a med spa that I love to go to. It's so easy just calling in and say, I need to set up an appointment for my facial with Natalia. And they take care of me immediately, in and out. They take care of skin rejuvenation. They do something called derma infusion. They do cool sculpting, and Natalia does all of that. She's also taking care of my laser needs. Like, she does laser reduction for me, and I swear to you, people say, oh, it's painful. She makes it so painless. Love, love, love her. So if you need to find out more about how you can get great skin, follow her at her Instagram, Natalia Castille, at Natalia Castille. You will not regret it. I will give you guys all the details, and she will take care of you. I promise you, she will do a great job for your skin. You will not regret it, and you will have the best skin of 2022.
And I've told Alicia this one because I started in business a lot sooner than she did, and she's always kind of held back, and she's gotten a lot better about it the last few years. But you can't be afraid of making mistakes. You have to just shake it off, wake up the next morning, and go right back at it the next day because it's part of the process.
Yeah, and I think that's my problem in terms of like when in businesses, I will hold on to those mistakes and I will go over them and over them in my head and like, how could I have fixed it? How could I have done it better? Why didn't I do this better? Why didn't I do that better? But at the same time, Russ is like, you have to learn to just let it go and move forward. And that's something that I'm learning, but it's not easy for everybody. You know, it's not easy to just understand that concept.
It's not.
To be honest.
I tell the team all the time, I'd rather you make a lot of mistakes because it means you're trying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always try to instill, think, think properly, try to strategize. But if you're making a mistake because you're trying to improve the system, improve the status quo, then hey, we'll fix it. There's always tell them every problem has a solution. And I always ask this question to my team. I don't know if they all got it by now, but I always ask them, what is the only one problem that doesn't have a solution?
Death.
There you go. Yes, well done. Yes, that's it.
Guillermo, tell me this. I want to ask you this because this is something that I really just want to know about as we promote CycleBar West U, because I really want people to come try you out. Why should they come to that particular ride? There's so many other rides. There's like Revolution Studio. There's ride within a Y. Like, why should they come to you? Because I know why, but I want you to tell my listeners why.
Why is CycleBar better?
The first thing that comes to my mind is the sales guy telling you for the experience, right? Mm-hmm. But the reality is, if I tell you that, I'm just like every other studio, right? Come check us out and see if the chemistry is there. See if you like it. See if you love it. You know, I'm gonna do my best to make sure our team makes you feel welcome. Yeah, and and what I can guarantee to whoever wants to come, and I want everybody to come, is that I want to be a big part of your journey in fitness and in mental health, because it's not just fitness, it's also mental health for me a lot. So I work every day really hard to make sure I have that team. And I work really hard on extending that energy that we talked to also our members. And then it comes back to that word again of experience. That's the experience. The experience is how, and that's the strive, and going back again to the instructor question, how can you remove all those barriers and be yourself with the members who are people you don't know?
Right.
And just be vulnerable and say, hi, how you doing, with a smile? And they probably don't have the same energy as you. How do you do that, right? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're striving for.
But besides the energy component of your business, in terms of, and besides the energy component of the product that you provide, for those folks that say, I just want something different on the bike. I want something technical. One thing that I had noticed was your trainers allow for you to bring your own workout music. You can pitch it to them, bring a song to get you going.
That's true.
I think you kind of customize it and make it very personable for people to feel like, hey, I'm paying for this, but I'm also getting what I want, for something for personally.
Oh, we love that.
And I think that's a huge plus. And even though I'm not much into the music part, but Lisa's
I'm all
loves
about
the music
part.
Every time that we've been there, every one of your trainers that we've encountered, always when we're walking out, hey, DM me on my social media what song you want.
What songs you want.
So I think that's almost like flying first class.
Yes.
No, it's a customized experience. It's a curated experience, which is amazing. And you love that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we strive for. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Our instructors are always very open. And that's another part of the selection that I do work with the franchise. But they help me make sure I have very technical, strong people, right? Even though we're in your studio, we're still growing in that aspect as well, because I do get green instructors that are growing with us, right? But like we were talking earlier with Ross, was they can teach you all the technical choreographies and all the moves. There's like 580 different moves and choreographies that you can do in a 12-song period.
Right.
But I can't teach you passion and energy.
Exactly.
So that going out of their way, hey guys, what do you like? What do you enjoy? And we have that variety of instructors too, right? If you like, all different types of music, we are offering that. And actually, we're getting 2 more instructors in. So we're growing that capacity as we go. And that's my intent too.
That's amazing.
And I think this is the first studio that I had seen, but I haven't been to all of them. But I think it's the first one that you can actually see your ranking on the board, on a flat screen TV.
Right. I've
Have
never
you seen that
before.
No, I haven't seen it and I think for a lot of folks that go there, it's competitive in nature, right? They're competitive in nature. Not for everybody, but it's your choice. If you want to get on that board, you can opt in, you can opt out. And it also, what it helps you do, it keeps you a personal track of your progress. Every time you go there, you can do 1 extra mile or half an extra mile or improve on your speed. That kind of gives you a sense of, that you're doing better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's also kind of makes it.
We want to provide an endorphins.
Right.
Endorphins. So you come in, and that's another thing that we strive for is coming in and getting back to from that noise and all that the stress, because we live in very stressful times.
Yeah.
You look at your geopolitics, economics, whatever you want to look. It's all stress. It's all negative. You look at media.
Always
all
negative
messaging.
Yeah.
So how do we create that refuge? So that's what we're striving. When you come in there, we'll give you a smile. And relax a little
It's
temple
a refuge
that we're creating. Pick your music, disconnect, and give yourself permission to, do your own pace. If they're telling you to be out of the saddle 70% of the ride and you don't want to, that's fine. This is your own journey. Like you say,
it is your own journey. Yeah.
And like
that's
you
for
said,
sure.
the doors close when the class starts. It's dark in there.
Yes.
They have low lighting. It's mostly red and it changes colors as the workout goes.
Yeah.
And it's your own refuge. So it gets you from the daily grind, from all the outside noise and the mental pollution that you encounter on a daily basis.
So Guillermo, you're an entrepreneur, I can tell. Are you thinking about maybe doing more franchising? What's the next step for you? What are you heading out to next? I know that you want to do podcasting.
Yes, I do.
Oh, I love that.
I think I found my professor.
I hope I could
if she's up to it. If she's up to it.
I do have a doctorate in podcasting.
By the way, I love your shirt.
Yes.
Listen, I'm representing because you're a sponsor too, so I'm always representing our sponsors. Happy
show
to
that shirt into
so
the
happy
camera,
to share. Yeah, so happy to share this with all of my listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's other cycle bars. We're going to West U cycle bar.
Exactly.
And it's really easy off the freeway. It's 59 Buffalo Speedway.
Super easy.
It's right off the feeder.
And the parking is awesome.
Parking is really easy because a lot of time for a lot of workout studios, right? Parking is always a challenge, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I get my favorite spot, which is right in front of the door.
Oh, you're always in the front.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, well, hey, we love it. It's a nice car to look at, too, by the way.
No le digas. Yes, he's already big-headed.
Physically and
Don't
mentally.
encourage this guy over here. So, okay, so there's expansion in your future. What's the plans? Where are you going?
So I have 3 thoughts that I need to line up first. So right now, the way I see our studio is still a baby. I want to make sure that it's crawling, walking. I think we're already walking, more like running. I want him to be running strong. Then once I know that I feel that I see it, which I believe, just from your comments that we're in that path. I'm considering either another cycle bar, maybe in the suburbs area, which is completely different from the city. And I'm also considering
how's it different?
Industry.
How's it different? What do you mean by it?
Yeah, so the demographics are different. Sure. The demographics.
So how does that change the model or the product?
It changes on the scheduling, the type of music, definitely the type of music. Suburbs and
have to be more conservative.
More conservative, right? So people get worried about what is being said in the songs.
Yes.
In the city, we're actually got rights that are completely explicit.
Yes,
and then there's others. So we have that freedom. So I think that's a different concept.
Okay.
They're both successful, but it's just you got to adapt to your different
you have to market.
Yeah. So that's one option that I'm considering. The other option I'm considering is food and drinks. So there's this concept in Spain. I lived in Spain a few years. Yeah. It's called a champañería, which is basically you go in and all they serve, well, in their case in Catalonia and Barcelona is cava, which is the Spanish version of champagne.
Yeah.
And all you drink is kava. But it's a very small, humble concept, but it's so much fun. I loved it.
It is. Yeah, we've tried that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And
Come
you
in
have
there.
little tapas.
Yeah. You got your little tapas, right?
Yeah.
You get your bottle
Yes.
You
or
get
your
your bottle.
glasses. You sit yourself there with your
I
friends.
love that idea,
And it's
Guillermo.
awesome.
That would be
Yeah.
something that would be
Yeah.
so, like, right up our alley.
It would.
Yeah.
Like, that would be something we would definitely go to.
Gain the calories and go burn it right
I
back.
know. There you go, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's it. So something maybe with food and alcohol to provide some sort of release and experience, and something unique. I'm excited about unique things, right?
Yeah. And
So
I think that there's
that's a great
a
idea.
craving for
Yeah.
uniqueness out there.
Yes,
There's a
right.
craving for like moving out of like doing just the regular thing and
Yes.
doing something that's
Yes.
unique, different, special. We pursue that all the time. And that's why Rusk and I are always traveling, because we're always looking for that adventure. We're both very curious people. So we're always looking for that thing that's giving us something new, something different that we haven't done before.
Right.
A new feeling that you haven't experienced before,
Right.
and that's kind of
And I think to
the
your
joy.
point about the idea of the kava, you actually had a class that had rosé
I had-
after the class
Yeah.
from California, from Napa. And I think that was one of your busier classes. I think it was
It
like
is.
22 or
It
23.
is. Yeah.
So
Right.
you're up to something
I
know.
good.
I know.
I remember that day.
Yeah.
The alcohol went straight to the brain after the workout. Had a hard time getting to the car, but it was a fantastic finish to hard work. It's like a little reward. It's like a medal.
Yeah.
Like a little
It's like a
reward.
trophy.
Absolutely.
Right.
That comes back to that experience, right? So and you're creating a community now. So that's another thing that alcohol does. That's the magic of alcohol. Alcohol lowers your inhibitions, of course, responsibly, right?
Right, sure.
But it lowers your inhibitions and it allows you
Yeah.
to become a little bit more yourself. And then you
Love
start
that.
building relationships, and it's just not so much about the business. It's
Yeah.
just like a regular human being to
Yes.
another.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
And the younger generations, we're Gen Xers.
Gen X,
You're
yeah.
Gen Xers, but the millennials, Gen Zs, all about the experience for them, right?
Yes.
We're half that way, the experience, but also half the purpose of what we're doing.
Correct.
But mostly for the generations that succeed us, it's all about the
It
experience,
is.
right?
Yeah.
It's so
Right.
heavy.
A lot of
I
the
love
old
that.
rules are being thrown out the window
Yeah.
in terms of
I
marketing. and
can't
business.
wait for the old rules to be done. So before we go, Guillermo. Oh, there's a woman in here. Hello. She's done with all the
Right.
patriarchy. Okay. Anyways, give us one piece of advice before we go. One piece of advice for those entrepreneurs that are they're ready to just free themselves from the 9 to 5, or maybe they're not ready to free themselves, but they're ready to jump into something like you. Maybe a franchise, maybe like a small business. What is that one piece of advice that you want to give them?
What did it take for you to cross the Rubicon?
For me, I feel like I cheated because I feel like it was thrown, like I promised myself and then I had to hold myself accountable to it. So I had to do it because I was,
Everybody gets there differently.
but I think if I was something that has helped me and continues to help me is in 2020, I also, I don't know how much time I have, but I'll tell you this story. So I used to work for BP, and in 2020, I had a lot of my savings in BP stocks. I don't know if you remember, oil crashed to negative numbers.
Yes, right.
So a lot of my stocks and my savings were in
We remember.
oil and gas.
Yeah.
So I've been reading about Elon Musk, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, man, so I took an aggressive move. I took all my shares, all of them, and I put them on Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And within 5 days, they announced a split. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it jumped from 5 to 1. So I
It shows you're diluted.
so I recovered because I had lost over 60% of my money.
Mm-hmm.
So I recovered. So I'm telling you this story because then I started getting into the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
And I started, okay, there's a future here. There's something interesting. So I started
Yeah.
reading and reading and reading. I got certified in some of the principles, and I'm still working on that, by the way, taking courses.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, and I was telling another friend of mine, we were doing it, and I was talking to him. I said, it's all about training the stomach. You have to train your stomach and embrace that fear, because then you'll buy something and it drops. But then what are you buying, right? So my advice is, for example, I would buy a company that I believe in. So I think, the future is going to be entailed of AI, telecommunications, space, they're all related. Electrical cars are coming. They're here.
Yes.
They're going to be cheaper. They're going to take
we
over.
drive 2 of them.
So this is, to me, I may not win in the short term.
Yeah, but you're going to win the long term.
Right. And
But everyone investing that knows it's always about the long term.
Correct.
Right.
And that's so if you can train yourself in the short term,
Train your stomach.
to stomach, and embrace the fear.
Those fears,
Yes.
and to embrace them,
Yes.
and see it as a long-term.
Yes, and I think
strategy.
that transition for me into the entrepreneurship, because you don't, which actually my advice is, it's okay. And here's the other thing, it's okay to be afraid. Tell yourself it's okay,
and do it anyway.
Yeah, it's 2 signs. If you're afraid, you're leaving. You're doing something out of your comfort zone.
Right.
If you're not afraid, you're almost dead.
Yes.
Because you're in remote control. You can do that job in your sleep. That's the worst place to be.
So you lost on BP.
Yeah.
You took the money, you put it in Tesla.
Yes.
You gained on Tesla.
Yes.
Right. Use the money in Tesla to open CycleBars.
Correct.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
That's exactly what I did.
So I think that's what some people want to hear is how'd you get from A to B and then eventually to C, and that's where you are now. So you took that money, you invested in CycleBar. You got tired of the corporate world.
Yes.
Got tired of working 9 to 5. Tired of trying to get people that are unmotivated to do their jobs, and like everybody else that wants to be an entrepreneur, they want that freedom to be their own boss. And I think we have a lot of friends or even acquaintances talk about crossing, I like to say the Rubicon, that old Roman analogy, and they just don't do it because they're always afraid that they're going to make a mistake. But but like
again,
you said, but you
embrace the fear.
You crawled, now you're walking, right? And you've been open for 6 months, 5 months, right?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna at some point you're gonna be running.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It's not hard in terms of delivering customer service. It's like you said at the beginning, a smile, make people feel welcome, get feedback, make adjustments all the time to that feedback, and make people feel like it's a personalized experience. And everything else will kind of work its way out. I know there's more to that, but
no, but absolutely, I think
that's a rudimentary general kind of rule of thumb.
But as much as we think that these lessons are hard, they're not hard. You just have to incorporate them, and you have to implement them and implement the feedback people give you. Yeah. It's not like just taking the feedback and saying, well, what did you think of the class? And then being like, okay. No, it's actually like going back and incorporating whatever feedback you're getting and giving a talk to your trainers and say, maybe you should try this next time, and having that dialogue with your customers all the time. Because as a client, as a customer, I want to know that I'm being heard, and that my thoughts are being, taken into consideration for someone. And I think those ideas in business are like what keep you going and keep you motivated. Like people will always come back to you if they feel like you listen to them.
Yes, absolutely.
And you recognize and acknowledge their presence. Guillermo, it's been a beautiful, wonderful conversation with you. I feel like we could go on for hours. You have so much to share with us, and I'm really grateful for your time today. And I want to just encourage all of my listeners to go check out CycleBar West U. They're one of our sponsors. Did you want to maybe give them like a promo, something that you want to promote?
Well, if you just come over and check us out. We are this month providing half of the membership.
Oh wow!
So if you sign up this month, we'll give you the first month for half a price of what regularly is.
Wow!
So what's your social media?
CycleBar West U.
Okay. Yes. Just CycleBar
West
U.
That's it.
Right.
We're there.
And what is your address?
3233 Southwest Freeway. Texas 77027.
Is there a suite number or
no, just
no
32.
Suite, right?
32.
You can see the sign once you pull into the parking lot. It's very
For
obvious,
sure.
right? It's right next to Jimmy John's. So
Yeah, that's right.
You can go work out and go have a sandwich.
Absolutely.
And then go work out some more after having a sandwich.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for being
Well,
on the podcast and being a wonderful sponsor of the podcast. We cannot wait to see what happens next. Rusk and I are excited for this. We're excited for you. We're excited for CycleBar West U. We're excited for everything that's to come for 2022 and for the future, because it's only just getting started.
Yes,
so much. I'm so happy you guys invited me and so flattered.
you.
And I really loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Please go follow Guillermo Leal at West U CycleBar, at CycleBar West U. I'm actually going to be including all of his information on the description of the podcast episode. So all of that's going to be on the description. There's no reason why you cannot go and get this half price off because you are not going to regret it. I promise you. If you regret it, let me know and I will make it right. Because I had so much fun and I wish I was just like, boom, there all the time. I just don't have all the time in the world.
Everybody that knows us knows we're picky about
we're very
the
picky
businesses
people
that we frequent or we patronage. So when we're telling you this is a great place to go
Of
to,
course.
they've met all the standards.
No. I wouldn't recommend, and I wouldn't have anybody on my podcast that I didn't recommend and feel strongly about for sure.
So much.
That's
I love
what we
that.
are.
Yes.
Thank you, Guillermo. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
My friends, I want to introduce to you the Vanguard Agency. They are fit for Texas. They are in the business of helping people to save money. For all of insurance needs, the Vanguard Agency cannot wait to work with you. Get a quote for your home, get a quote for your auto, a quote for your business and restaurant. They are ready to shop your insurance policies with top-rated insurance companies. Go see my friend Humberto Garcia. He's been in the business a long time and makes an effort to make your insurance policy needs as seamless as possible for all of you. Tell him you heard about them here when you call him at 281-453-8770. They speak Spanish, and I know they will take care of you.